Good evening, folks. It's Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project, Magnetic Reversal News, Sacred Geography, and Shinrin-yoku, bringing you a grand solar minimum update Monday, March 13th, around 8 p.m. Mountain Time, 2023. A large nor'easter could dump heavy wet snow, and that could mean major headaches and power outages in the coming days. But the big story, treacherous flooding is about to get worse in California as another atmospheric river closes in on storm-battered residents. Keep calm. It's boom time. California residents were pummeled by an onslaught of dangerous storms. They'll get another deluge again as another atmospheric river threatens more deadly flooding. Over 18 million people in California are under flood alerts that cover much of the state, including San Francisco, Oakland, Sacramento, and Fresno. Major wind and water impacts are expected, according to the National Weather Service, Bay Area. Now is the time to rush any preparations to completions before conditions go downhill today. And they've gone downhill, and that is an understatement. Let's take a look at some of this footage.
At least 2 people have died as a result of the ongoing storm inundating California right now, and now nearly 10,000 residents are under evacuation orders as flooding begins to intensify. CNN's Nick Watt reports.
Water everywhere, causing chaos across central California. Some 25 million are under flood warnings. The Kern River usually runs at about 6 feet. It's up over 17. Snow is the issue up at altitude.
It was a quick sec where I lost control, but I caught that bad boy.
Springville's Pleasant Valley Road, now anything but. In my 40 years, never seen it like that, said the man who shot these images. A major artery in Oakland closed at rush hour nearby.
So to say the least, more flooding is coming. The Salinas River near Spreckles has crested, but it is expected to crest in another few days. Highway 68 remains open at this time. Let's take a look at the Salinas River at Spreckles, shall we? Let's just blow this up. Now, there is the crest earlier today that we're looking at, but here is the forecast. It's only expected to drop down a slight bit to minor flood stage, and the next phase could be up in the major sections. So this is an ongoing event as we enter the melt season, the spring runoff in March and April. It is going, if atmospheric rivers continue, to be catastrophic. Monterey County warns that Monterey Peninsula Island could be a reality. Now, the Salinas River is predicted to hit 28 feet today, and we just showed you the graphics. It hit 27 feet, but in the next phase, it could go higher, and it would literally create an island in the middle of California. Monterey County is warning residents that flooding along the Salinas River could impact travel between the Monterey Peninsula and the rest of the county. The worst case scenario of this impact is both Highway 1 and Highway 68 are cut off, turning the peninsula into an island. Those are signs of the times and things to come as we move further into the meltwater season. Now, California homes are completely buried in snow from crazy winter storms, and there is 4 to 8 more feet expected over the next 2 weeks. It is absolutely insane. Take a look at this. This home is barely sticking out of the snow. Ho, ho, ho. And the beginning of this starts with no audio, but you can just see, look, there is a small hole here where people can get inside. That is absolutely insane in the membrane. And here we can see some more footage.
So we just drove by and I saw this ladder and an address up on the tree. There's a house back there, and that's apparently how whoever owns this car gets to their house. So I'm going to climb a ladder to get on top of the snow to try knocking the door and see what's going on over there.
Hey, okay. Come on. Come on.
Usually you don't worry about your dog going off the second.
So this is the second floor balcony of
but
that
now
house.
it just can walk off
That's
the
the
second
only
floor.
way they can get in.
On,
Called, so.
Yeah. Come on.
Just don't want to go. Come on, baby. That's all right.
Getting warmed up there a bit.
So they're now exiting the home from the second
I feel
floor.
like an Eskimo ever?
Oh yeah.
And they're about to look over the road,
But,
and the road is like 15
this
feet,
door
maybe
right
20
below you
feet
there,
below
first
them.
of all, that's our
It's
normal
absolutely
road.
insane.
We can't, it's kind of a flat roofed ski storage room added on. but that's not going to be accessible for a while. And right, usually we just park. We pull right up here for parking. Road looks.
Now take a look at this. This is the snow height at his property, and that is the road.
And that's mine.
Scrape off that. Scary.
That is insane.
Yeah, I'm gonna scrape off the car pretty soon.
Welcome to
Have to keep up with it.
California record
Yeah,
snow.
yeah, I do. I cleaned it up yesterday, so we're okay. But
That's insane. I mean, all the links will be below as this mind-blowing winter season continues. Powerful nor'easter is expected to bring heavy snow and power outages to parts of the Northeast. A nor'easter to pose high power outage threat to Mainers. It's insaners. Here's an area of 10 plus possible. Could be up to 30 inches according to the GFS model. But the mainstream is sticking with an even foot to foot and a half for the major impacts in parts of Massachusetts. At least 12 inches of heavy wet snow possible in New Hampshire, with gusty winds and tons of power outages. This is the GFS model, and this is how it walks through in the Northeast, assuming a 10-to-1 snow liquid ratio. This is Tuesday, your lose day, as it explodes on the back end of that nor'easter. And there is a pocket of 3-foot plus snow here in Western Mass, as well as a bullseye here in the Catskills. So that's what the nor'easter looks like. Maine, it's insane, is only going to get 6 to 12, and this is the big bullseye here, right on the back end of that bomb out on the cyclone. Now here's the full forecast. Nor'easter to impact the Northeast. Another atmospheric river event impacts California. A coastal low pressure will strengthen rapidly into a major nor'easter that significantly impacts the Northeast this evening through Wednesday, with areas of heavy snow, strong winds, coastal flooding, and beach erosion. Another major winter storm is set to move across California late today through Wednesday, with areas of heavy rain, snow melt producing, well, epic flooding, high winds, and more mountain snow. Ho, ho, ho. Here is the full forecast for the country. Here is your Tuesday. That nor'easter is going to dump all that snow in just the next 24 hours, while there could be up to 4 feet of snow showing up on the Sierra spine. And the snow will continue to fall, at least through Wednesday or Thursday for the Sierras, bringing 4 or 5 feet more snow. Ho, ho, ho. And then take a look. Another system moving through the Midwest, bringing Iowa maybe 8 to a foot of snow. Heavy snow in northern Wisconsin, northern Michigan, the northern peninsula, and parts of Quebec and Ontario. Take a look at that. And then more snow for the Northeast like a beast. And let's just run these models through. The snow continues. And heavy batch of snow coming to Snowshoe and the southern Appalachians Monday, or here it is, Tuesday, Wednesday, March 21st and 22nd. That's far out, but what's far out is the snow is continuing to fall, especially in Iowa, up to 3 feet in the models here, and we will wait and see what develops. Seismic update, no quakes of note. All is quiet on the Western Front. Worldwide volcano news update. Merapi is still puffing and passing to 15,000 feet after those pyroclastic flows added insult to injury. And we have Cerro Negro de Mayascuera, or however you say that, in Colombia, Ecuador. We'll just call it Cerro Negro. A seismic swarm with earthquakes up to M3.4. Quite a large cluster there. And that means it could be boom time. That's Chile, Cerro Negro. Only one recorded eruption in 1936 confirmed at VEI2, so that should be an eruptive index. Maybe we could be looking for. It doesn't look like this volcano gets any catastrophic explosions that rip off the entire top. It's quite wide and large, so a VEI2 would make a big hole in the top, but nothing significant, just local effects. Space weather news update. Take a look at how quiet the sun has been for days in the B range. There are a few sunspots peppering the disk, but nothing particularly ominous or dangerous. Just a few pinpricks at solar max, nonetheless, which the sun shouldn't look like this at solar max. This is more indicative of a solar minimum phase. In fact, the 3-day geomagnetic forecast is showing KP405 and instability maybe on March 15th. But we'll wait and see what space weather brings us. As of now, the forecast is for all quiet on the Western Front. Now, these are the only photos ever captured of the surface of Venus, and they're pretty spectacular. And they're not even from the United States. They're from Russia. And we'll probably get demonetized for this music, so I won't turn it on. Venus is extremely hot, so any aircraft that ever attempt to land on the surface experience, this is an artist's concept of Venera 13, which is the Russian craft that actually took that picture right there we're looking at of the surface of Venus. It quickly burned up after the pictures were transmitted. The surface is hundreds of degrees, I think 750 Fahrenheit, which is ridiculously hot, obviously, for anything. It might even be hotter, so don't quote me on that. I just pulled that number out of my butt. So there are many good pictures of Venus, and this video here is showing the pictures that we have, our only images. So, like I said earlier, all the links to everything we talk about tonight will be below the video. Now, a huge seaweed bloom that can be seen from space is threatening eastern Florida. And in fact, huge swaths. Here we look at rafts of the brown seaweed from the so-called Sargassum Bloom have washed up on Miami Beach. Now, the reason this occurs is because of third world countries in the Caribbean that dump raw sewage directly into the beautiful ocean where you go snorkeling, which is why I really don't have a hankering to go down there and snorkel on those reefs. The amount of toxic waste and sewage that gets dumped out and the huge nitrogen content causes these seaweed blooms, as well as algal blooms in the Gulf. But this is in the Atlantic and now washing up in Miami. Thanks, Caribbean. Now, the Gulf Coast is not out of the way either. Officials are warning of spring breakers about a man-o-war infestation, and it could be deadly. Do you know about the man-o-war?
For everybody that's planning on going.
It has to do with what locals are calling an infestation of Portuguese Manwar. Our Lauren Harkson, speaking today with someone who knows all about this issue, an official down on the coast. So Lauren, show us these pictures you got.
Okay, so Morgan, Steve, go ahead, take a look at this. This is what they look like. A Portuguese man-o-war is similar to a jellyfish, but apparently more dangerous. I'm told by officials down in South Walton that the venom is quite powerful and could send you to the hospital. Go ahead and check out these photos from the South Walton Fire District. Beach Safety Director David Vaughn says there are thousands of man-o-war on the beaches and in the water right now, all during their first big batch of spring breakers. He adds these creatures are wind riders, so they come in with the current, sometimes unexpectedly. Vaughn says it's most common for those from out of town who are unaware of the dangers out on the Gulf to get hurt while out on the beach. And these man-o-war can cause serious injury, sometimes even death.
So please, if you see the Portuguese man-o-war or any gelatinous object, large object in the Gulf Coast, do not touch it, do not play with it. And certainly, if you see dozens of them up on the beach, do not go in the water. The sting is worse when they're alive. Portuguese man-of-war are gigantic. And here is a full specimen that we're looking at, and they can reach from top to bottom of the tentacles up to 10 meters, 30 foot long in the ocean. So if you swim through them and you get stuck and you're getting stung, it could be deadly. So heed the warning. Now, how did 99% of all ancient literature get lost? In fact, it's probably more like 99.9%. Well, it was destroyed on purpose by the people who controlled the narrative and the whole world by doing so. And we still live in a slave world. You are still a slave, even though you think you're sovereign and free. You have to slave your entire life until you die just to survive. And that's because the information on how we can live harmoniously has been erased so that a few people can be rich and control the masses. Now, described by narrator Garrett Ryan in this video, which we're going to link you below, which you should probably watch, the greatest of all ancient libraries, the Library of Alexandria, could have contained between 532,800 and 700,000 volumes in scroll form of lost ancient knowledge that would explain the predicament that we're in. Isn't that crazy? And this Julius Caesar burnt it all down in 48 BC. Thanks, Julius. Have you heard the U.S. Treasury has the largest two-day drop in recorded history? Now, what does that mean for me and you? It means that fiat currency and the empire that we're living in may be about to collapse. So please, take heed of the warning signs. Crypto exploded today, precious metals popped, and the banking industry is collapsing. And that's a boom to knowledge. Proper prior planning prevents piss poor performance as the empire ends. We've been warning for this over 10 years. And what comes next is a grid down scenario, an EMP, they shut off the internet, and everyone goes crazy. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Share this with like-minded people. Become a Patreon. Support the work we do. We love you. Be safe.